e-cigarettes are being sold to them is the way cigarettes are being sold to us, right? And back in the day, they used to use the Flintstones to sell cigarettes because they were interested in getting it to kids, right? And I was sharing with them that this is an ad for e-cigarettes. They use Santa Claus, you know, because their focus is kids. And I was sharing them with this. This is a quote from a cigarette executive. The base of our business is the high school student. And I asked them, what do you mean? What do you think they mean by the base of our business? And the kids accurately got it. They said that's where they make their money. So I said, let us rephrase this so it could be more exact. Where we make our money is from the high school student. That's a cigarette executive. Quote from a cigarette executive, right? So this is what I was sharing with the kids, right? Basically, I was sharing with them that the reason that you think e-cigarettes are okay is because it advertises it as such. They want to give you an impression that it's okay. This is a perfect ad. Look at this one here. You mess with e-cigarette, love your lungs. And not only that, but mess with e-cigarettes, they're refreshing. Oh, really? Okay. So I said, you hold that. I told them, hold that. After I share with you this information, you tell me if you think e-cigarettes are loving your lungs and refreshing, right? So what we then did is just went into a breakdown of e-cigarettes, right? It's a basic construction of an e-cigarette. I talked about the fact that they call the e-liquid and the e-cigarette e-juice. They don't call it e-liquid for obvious reasons, because that sounds refreshing, right? And here's a big one. They call the use of an e-cigarette vaping for good reason. Because if I'm vaping, one may think that what comes out of a vaping, now think about it. I'll present it to you the way I presented it tonight. Smoking is called smoking is because when I have a cigarette, what I'm doing is I'm burning tobacco. When you burn something, you generate smoke. Well, it makes sense that smoking is called smoking, right? One would then think that if I'm vaping, I should be generating vapor. That's what they want you to think. See, because vapors is that smoke that comes out of water that we boil, that evaporates after 2 or 3 seconds, because it's just water particles. Totally safe. I've had some kids that actually thought that they actually thought that there's water inside an e-cigarette. There's no water inside an e-cigarette. Water in the e-cigarette would damage this mechanism. So you can't have water inside an e-cigarette. But they want you to think that there's water inside and that it's just nothing that really comes out of it. What comes out of a cigarette is an aerosol. If you notice when you spray aerosol that stuff that comes out hangs in the air for a while, right? Because there's a lot of stuff in there. And this is what I was showing kids. And like when they saw this, they were like, for real? I said, yeah. All of this is inside of the aerosol of an e-cigarette. And the ones that are yellow, it's kind of hard to read, have been identified by the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, as being harmful. And what we did.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they're not worse than cigarettes, but they ain't too far behind. Yeah, they're not too far behind. The bottom line is that they're a whole lot more dangerous than kids think. And here's an example. Here's some of the ones that are on this list or on this chart here. We got propylene glycol, which is found inside of antifreeze, which I use inside my car, right? Nail polish remover. Ethylbenzene, which is in paints and pesticides. Formaldehyde, which is used to preserve frogs that they work on in bio, right? Nicotine, rubidium, which is found inside of fireworks, and arsenic, which is used as a poison to kill rats. Then I asked the class, how is heating this up and inhaling it loving your lungs? And what about this is refreshing? And when was the last time I had myself some antifreeze? Oh, I got a refreshing bottle of antifreeze mixed with a little nail polish remover. Oh my God, this feels so good. All right? See, but this is all the e-cigarette companies want you to focus on. This is all they want kids to focus on. And they've done that so well. Look at this. Monitoring the Future is an organization out of the University of Michigan that has been surveying kids since 1975. Every year since 1975. They are the gold standard. If you want to find out what is the state of kids' attitudes and drinking behavior and habits here in the United States, Monitoring the Future, the absolute best, right? So they recently had a survey and they included this question: what's inside of e-cigarettes? And I was showing the 8th graders and 10th graders, right? Look at the result for 8th graders. 10% of 8th graders thought that it was nicotine. Almost 75% thought it was just flavoring. Look at this. 10th graders. 25% thought it was nicotine. Almost 65 thought just flavoring. Not a big deal. 12th graders. 30%, 35% thought it was nicotine. Almost 55% thought it was just flavoring. So I told the kids, if I was an e-cigarette executive, why would I be happy with these numbers? Can you see why I'd be happy with these numbers? If I had a guy who's a marketer and he showed me this, that guy or girl gets a bonus. Yeah, you stand on my team because you're convincing kids. And these numbers and these attitudes translates into this. In the space of a year, use has almost doubled for almost every category, 8th, 10th, and 12th grade. It has gone up, up, and up. That's why I call it a clear and present danger, because it is. Because this is effective marketing, and this is the kind of information I share with the kids, so they can see how they're being manipulated. So they clearly see what's going on here. And the fact that you've come to these conclusions, these attitudes, and perceptions, that they didn't just come to you on your way walking to school one day. Were filtered to you deliberately so that you could come to this conclusion. And because I tell kids the most dangerous drug is the drug that you think is not that dangerous. Now let me ask you, why would I tell a kid that the most dangerous drug for them is the drug that's not that dangerous? Why do you think I would even tell a kid that? Why would I tell a kid the most dangerous drug for you is the drug that you think is not dangerous? Why would I tell that to a kid?
That's the one they're likely to try.
That's the one I'm gonna try. That's the one I'm gonna try. See, that's come any school I go to, you don't hear anything about heroin, cocaine, crack, meth, ecstasy. You don't hear about that. Why? Deathly scared of that. Alcohol, tobacco, and marijuana, you find it at any school, anywhere in the world. Why? Because their perception of risk is low. When kids have a perception of risk as high, use is low. When they have a perception of risk as low, use is high. Look at cigarettes. Perception on the part of kids of cigarettes, high risk. Consequently, here in the United States, low use. Perception in this United States of e-cigarettes, perception of risk is low, use high. All right. And it turns out that the one that they're using the most, and the one that's most presently dangerous here, is e-cigarettes, which just happens to be the one that they think is not that dangerous. All right? So this is what we show the kids. Then we also show them the granddaddy of all the e-cigarettes, Juul. Juul has gone from a noun to a verb. Just in case you hear juuling and vaping, those are synonymous terms. They mean the same thing. It's just like Kleenex and tissues. Kleenex is so popular that it replaces the term, right? Or another example would be juuling. I mean, not juuling, but Googling. We Google something. We even hear now where some people say, I'm going to Uber, right? These things are so popular. Juul has reached that level. Juul owns 75% of the whole e-cigarette market. 75%. Unbelievable command in the market. But what I showed the kids was this. This is a perfect example of deceptive advertising. Look on this pack. On this pack are 4 things that Juul is very happy to share with you indisputably. The fact that it's Juul, the fact that it's mango, the fact that it's 4 pods, and because Juul is so environmentally friendly, it is recyclable. So they're not all that bad. You can actually, like, this is recyclable, this pack is recyclable. What's not clear is that 5% strength. Nobody in this room can tell me what that 5% strength is. And even if you thought it was harmful, if it's 5%, is it really harmful? Even if it was something dangerous, at 5%, would you think it's really dangerous?
No,
Probably not at just 5%, right? Well, look at this. 5% strength means 1 pod is 59 milligrams of nicotine. What 1 pod translates. A pack of cigarettes has 20 cigarettes. 1 Juul pod has the equivalent of 41 cigarettes. 1 pod. as the nicotine equivalent of 2 packs of cigarettes. Not only that, but Juul, looking at the playbook of cigarette companies, when cigarettes were designed, cigarettes were laced with ammonia to enhance the nicotine effect, thereby ensuring addiction and ensuring that it'd be hard for you to stop. That's how it's really hard to stop smoking cigarettes, right? Cigarettes were designed that way, right? You know what Juul has done? Juul came along and they have a salt-based system where they enhance the nicotine effect. So when a kid draws that Juul in, that nicotine, all that nicotine, the nicotine equivalent of 41 cigarettes, hits their brain real quick. So it's a real big impact, right? Now, on a brain that's primed for excitement, that's primed for that kind of effect, can you see how a kid could be drawn to that? See, because the way kids' brain is developed, it develops from the back to the front. The part of the brain that's excitable is like in the mid-range area here. Right? That's how come kids, they like loud music, they like bright colors, they like running around, they like loud, they like fast. Yeah, that's because their brain is primed that way. Well, if I give them a drug that plays into that, can you see how the kid would then like want to do that again? Juul owns 75%. It's not a fluke. They're not running around saying, how did we do this? They designed, everything about Juul was deliberate. I think Juul is an absolute, they're unbelievably, the way that they focus kids, I think is horrible. What you got to give them credit for is a masterful marketing plan. Everything, even to the Juul, look at it. Look at a Juul, look at the design of a Juul. Looks like a flash drive, right? Now, if I want to market, I'm going to market to a population whose life is centered around computers and phones. When you say your kid's life is centered around phones and computers, right? So let me make sure that this item is consistent with that lifestyle. Not only that, you know that there's a battery in here, right? This battery could be charged up through the USB port. The USB port, they can simply put it on inside the USB. Charges it up right there. It's small, it's sleek, it looks kind of nice, so I could use it. You can see that I'm using it. The guys who made Juul said that they want Juul to be the iPhone of e-cigarettes. And they've succeeded in doing it. So, something else you might want to know. Here's something interesting. Because e-cigarettes are not regulated, other organizations have come along and said, oh my God, if Juul is doing well, having a part with the nicotine equivalent of 41, let me make mine that has a nicotine equivalent of 75. And this one here, Surin, has a nicotine equivalent of 91 cigarettes. And some kids say, oh, well, but George, some e-cigarettes, I have no nicotine. Because it's not regulated, how do you know which one does and doesn't? And if I don't have to be specific, do you think I'm actually going to tell you that my e-cigarette has a nicotine equivalent of 90 cigarettes?
So how long does a pod last?
It's according to the individual. You can have a person who smokes cigarettes, a person who smokes cigarettes. If I'm really into cigarettes, how long was it going to take me to go through that pack? If I smoke cigarettes a lot, how long is it going to take me to go through a pack of cigarettes? For a day, maybe half a day, right? It could be half a day. By noontime, I've already gone through a pack. Well, if I'm really caught up in this Juul thing, by lunchtime, I might have already gone through a pod, right? But if I just began, just like if I began smoking cigarettes, it may take me a week to go through a pack of cigarettes. So it has a lot to do with where I am on the continuum. Because I'm going to get to you in a second. When it comes to use of drugs, we have use, abuse, addiction. So it takes place on a continuum, right? So it has a lot to do with where they are on that continuum. What will determine how fast they're going through that.
So I'm really ignorant about e-cigarettes. So what that orange and black thing is a group of cigarettes, or is it one?
Oh, no. It's you see it like this. Okay, with Juul, what you do is you buy this, right? And this is this kind of stick. Now you see this thing here? This is this. So what happens is when I finish using this up, all of the e-liquid that's in here, right? I throw it away, I do whatever, right? And then I replace it with another.
Okay.
Now, when I replace it, when I take this and put it in here, when I'm putting in here, this has the nicotine equivalent. It doesn't have the effect of 41 cigarettes, but it has the nicotine equivalent of 41 cigarettes. So that's what it's kind of like when we used to take, back when they used to have film for cameras, right? You would take pictures, right? And then you would take the film out, put another film in. Same thing with this one here, same idea.
How long does it take to smoke one pod?
Well, just like I was sharing with the lady over there, it has a lot to do with how into this I am.
So you can start, you've got 4 there, so it's not like 4 cigarettes.
No, what I've got here is the nicotine equivalent of 8 packs of cigarettes.
Right. So
Now.
160 cigarettes.
Exactly, 160 cigarettes.
But you're not gonna, because, back in the day, 20 minutes, every 20 minutes, you're smoking a cigarette. If you're a 3-pack a day habit.
Okay.
So you've got, in this situation, they're hitting on that for a couple of times, and then they stop. Does it's on, it's off?
Yeah, it's on and off. It's according. If I'm really into it, I'm hitting it a lot.
Right.
If I'm doing it casually, I'm hitting down and down, putting it down, putting it back up.
Right.
Has a lot to do with how far into it I am.
Yeah.
Determines the pace, the regularity and things like that.